What's up, goblins? Welcome to another video here on Acrylic and Aether. Go ahead and roll that intro. So, I know it's been a long time since we have made a proper edited, cut, thought out video. And there's a lot of reasons for that, mostly our mental health. I think everyone saw on the charity live stream, we were not doing that well. We were dissociated, we couldn't talk very much, and it was just kind of like a blank brain day, and it was just kind of awful. And that's a lot of what we've been dealing with for the majority of probably the year, honestly. Even now I'm a little dissociated. You can probably tell, tired eyes, just kind of a slack face. But I wanted to give an update because we are going to do a few videos this week, and all of them are going to probably be filmed on the same day, so wardrobe and things like that aren't going to change very much. So just so you know, there's going to be a few videos rolling one after another, talking about things that we've been doing in our life, why we do certain things on our channel, and possibly a journaling video reviewing Evangelina Skov's mental health journal. I know we talked about doing that at the beginning of the year, but unfortunately our mental health has not been that great, and there hasn't been a lot of anything going on other than crocheting. Also, if you want to check out our Etsy shop, the link is going to be down below. We have new things on there, and shawls, a table runner that's like 5.5 feet long. Yeah, there's several new items on there, including flower bookmarks. But yeah, so we have just been honestly crocheting, trying to take care of ourselves. We did end up losing our job, and that's something we really want to talk about, and I'll get into it here in a moment. We lost the prenatal kitten. She just didn't make it. The vet said that we did everything we could, and there just wasn't very much that anybody could do with her at that point. Her siblings had already passed away, so it was likely that she was already sick when we got her. So we are just gonna kind of ramble a little bit, and hopefully you guys don't mind. So we started a dog training business, and to be a dog trainer you don't have to have a certification. For us, a lot of our dog training abilities and know-how and everything come from years of experience. We used to walk dogs from the time we were 7, and then we started training dogs, just friends' dogs, really, learning by trial and error, learning from professionals who've given us tips along the way. Yeah, so we started a dog training business, and we have 2 clients currently, and one of them is a German Shepherd who showed aggression towards humans, and working with him for about 2 or 3 months now, he has come a long way. He is now just a little bit reactive to dogs. Seems like that's just more of a confidence issue, which is great. And some people have been asking, like, how do you maintain dog training when you have DID? How do you maintain a job when you have DID? Those types of things. For us, maintaining a normal job is really hard, and that's not just because of DID. Maintaining a regular job that you work 5 days a week, it doesn't really work well with us because we end up getting sick. We have insomnia. Even when we were home working our job, we still ended up getting strep throat. And I don't even know how that happened because we haven't really been out of the house all that much. So it's just, for us, it's a lot of toll on our physical health and our mental health to continue working a regular job. Dog training gives us something that nothing else has. And that's the option of, I can sit down and train this dog. I can stand up. I can change my methods. I don't have to do it any specific way because there is multiple different ways to train a dog. And I think a lot of people really like that approach because we're very kind, understanding, and we know that most of the time when a dog is reactive, it's a confidence issue, just like with the dog that we're working on. His name is B, and when we first saw him, he wanted to bite us, and we just, we calmly let the owner know, like, just let him get to see us, smell us, realize, that we're here, and then we can probably just go outside and work with him a little bit. And by the end of the session, we ourselves were working with him. And that was a really good feeling because the owner was like, wow, nobody has warmed up to my dog or has had my dog warm up to them as quickly as he has to you. And so that's just a really warm feeling. I'm not sure exactly where I was going with that. But some people are asking us, like, how do we cohesively do our jobs, train dogs, crochet, play music. We used to play flute in marching band and regular band. And, how do you maintain skills and have DID? And for us, it was a lot of communication, a lot of co-consciousness, people watching, but also we have what we call personally a memory bank, and it's accessible knowledge. It's kind of like muscle memory. So if you do something enough times, so if you get really good at crochet, you get muscle memory, and you can just go faster and faster and faster. And it's kind of the same thing for us in particular with our alters. It's a memory bank that even if an alter hasn't done something, it's not like they reach in and access it. It's more of like, you need to know this, and here is the muscle memory for it. I don't know how to explain that very well because it's such a intricate thing in our brain. But we're able to access the knowledge that we need when we need it for certain things. And then a lot of times certain alters will enjoy what we're doing and front more often during that time. So there's not really a need for communication or relearning between alters. But if, say, an alter that hasn't been out in 2 years or so comes to the surface and fronts during work, they might be a little confused, but they'll be able to do our job because that information, it's for us, it's survival. To keep a job is survival, and to try and get things done in a certain way, knowing certain clients, knowing how to do really anything that comes naturally to us. It's something that we have to know, and if we don't know it, our careers fall apart. Now, the reason that we actually lost our job was because we could not get accommodations for our dissociation and our terrible mental health. We ended up getting a muscle spasm in our back, and because they put us on muscle relaxers, we would sleep for like 12 hours at a time, and we even had a doctor's note for that. because it's something specific to us. But it was something, specific to us, and they didn't care. We contacted HR, who said they don't give accommodations for maybe spacing out calls a little bit more. We needed, instead of taking calls every 2 seconds, you hang up a call, a new call comes in, you answer it, and you do your thing, and then you send the message before you get off the phone, and then 2 seconds later, once you're off the phone, you get another call. For us, we needed 1 minute to 2 minutes between calls for our brain to switch modes, because for what we were doing, it was an answering service. So if someone called, say, a doctor's office, and that doctor's office was closed, we would get incoming calls to put through to message to the doctors. And then we'd need to switch to something like ordering expensive calamari or fancy dinner treats. And for us, we needed a little bit of time to switch gears in between calls, because we weren't just getting the exact same call every single time. We needed the time to switch in our brain what we were doing, from medical to something mundane, to pest control, to dental work, to you name it. AC repairs, Boeing employee buying things, ordering things off of a magazine website. And we told HR, we told our managers, we told a lot of people that we would need this. And they basically said, we can't do that type of accommodation. So since they couldn't do that type of accommodation, we started falling behind. And so they didn't really want to accommodate for our particular mental health, even though we were getting recommendations from our therapists, from doctors. And it was upsetting. And so one day we woke up late because we had an Insomnia episode until 8 o'clock in the morning, and our shift started at 6. And there was no way that we would have been able to properly function and take calls the way we needed to, while also having, without having slip-ups and getting yelled at and having big gaps between call times and things like that. So unfortunately, because of that, it was kind of like we just didn't go to work because of that, and then they fired us because we didn't go to work, but we kind of quit at the same time because we were having meltdowns all the time, and it was really upsetting, honestly. So that we loved the job, we loved the work, we loved taking messages and learning the new skills that we needed, but unfortunately it didn't work out in our favor. So that's pretty upsetting. But yeah, so that happened, and then we've just been dealing with the mental health stuff ever since, and we haven't been doing very well at all. And that's just the reality of not even just DID. DID is definitely a part of it because there's so much going on and people switching and the time loss, and it's just like that definitely played a big role in our work. Was time loss. Is we would get back from break 2-3 minutes late, and like just felt like somebody took a few minutes of time and said, oh no, we need to be back at this time. And of course, we just apologized to our job and said that's like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try and make sure that I set a timer and things like that. But our job just didn't care, and it's really frustrating to try and get accommodations. So that was that. And since then, we've been trying to find a job. We've been applying to places, but a lot of what we've been applying to hasn't even given us an interview before we get dismissed, basically. Even retail, which we don't want to work, even food, which we don't want to work. A lot of it has just been one after another. Sorry, we've moved on to other candidates. So it's definitely been rough for the last months. Time is not very great. Even now, I'm dissociating, which is great for our next video, but not great for this video. But yeah, so I don't know a lot of what to talk about. Our system has been going through, Aether's sister has moved out, and so our system has been able to switch more freely. Because it doesn't matter how comfortable we are with someone, or how long we've known them, it's still a little hard to switch in front of them, especially when you have communication. Sometimes switches just happen and alters are and so they hide in the room. And that's happened to me quite a few times, where I will just come back and we are in the room and we haven't done anything for 6 hours, because why? But we've started to be able to switch more. I've been able to crochet more, which is why we have more things up on Etsy. We're enjoying our pets more again. For a little while there, it was really hard to properly take care of these guys. We did. We fed them, we watered them, we made sure that their litter boxes were clean and everything, but it was hard, It was hard to get out of bed and realize, I need to do something right now. And we did. And we've shared that process with Aether's system, taking care of Odyssey, putting him outside when we need a complete break for an hour or two, being able to go back to training him. We went a couple months without doing any training because we just, honestly, if we stood up and we tried to say something and he didn't listen, it would spark anger, and that was just frustration out of being so dissociated all the time, and stress. And so we decided to take a break so we wouldn't have those anger flare-ups. And so now we're getting to the point where it's not so much about anger, it's back about getting with ourselves, with our dog, with our animals, and being able to understand where we're coming from, as well as what they're needing and what we haven't been giving them, such as, Odyssey with stimulation. He needs to be challenged. He needs to learn something new, run 10 miles, do a lot of different things in order for him to be focused and able to train properly. And so now we've been able to take him on walks again. It's not like we didn't before, but we would have to go on short walks. We personally couldn't just go on a walk. It was really hard for us, and that's just something people don't talk about, is knowing when it is hard and when you need to give yourself time and a break. And now we're back to training him. We have a 50-foot long line, and we use that in the yard because he likes to run off on occasion. And so we're using that in the yard, and he's learning to fetch currently, and properly bring it back and drop it. which is something we've struggled with. He'll bring it back, but he wants you to play tug with him 100% of the time. And sometimes that doesn't work for us because some alters are stronger than others, and some alters don't like playing tug, and sometimes his teeth get caught on our fingers because he does the grippy thing with his mouth. And so we're now able to toss something, have him bring it back, tell him to drop it, give him a treat, and then throw it again. And that's something that we haven't been able to do for a while. And we're also working on his recall. So if he's distracted by the cats, or if he's distracted by a neighbor or another dog, we're starting to work on the recall of, just saying his name and asking him to come to us. And that's going really well now. And it's almost like we didn't stop training at all. We just paused where we were. So that's really, it's nice to get back into that. And then there's the wedding. People have been chastising us, I guess, for celebrating us getting a new car, a wedding dress, having a wedding, getting wedding rings and a veil and different things. And 90% of the stuff that we have bought has been on discount. Our car we bought because we sold our old car. We could not have bought another car unless we had sold our old car. So we sold our old car and bought the new car. And we're struggling to pay for that. It's not like it's easy. We were just very excited that we got a new car. The wedding dress, it was like, it was on sale. We went to the clearance rack. The veil, it was on sale for like 70% off. We haven't splurged, if you know what I mean. Like, why can't we celebrate our life with the community? Yes, I know that a lot of people are having a hard time, and we've done multiple GoFundMes for people who have hard times. So I don't know where your flaunting is coming from, because we're excited. We're trying to share precious moments with you guys. My stepmom, Donna, has been very helpful. She's planning the wedding decorations. We're doing a hand fasting ceremony. And our dad is paying for our tickets to our honeymoon, where my grandparents have a condo. Like, the tickets are really cheap right now because flying is like, why would you even want to fly? But the tickets are really cheap. The condo I don't have to pay for because my grandparents are the ones who own it. Like, we're not splurging, we're not spending a lot of money, but I don't know why I have to justify that to people at all. Because it's not my intention to make you guys feel guilty. It's my intention to share exciting, loving moments with you. It's my intention to share how much our love, like, what, you might as well say, don't ever have a wedding, just sign the wedding certificate. Don't ever buy a new car, buy a used car. Guess what? I did buy a used car. Don't, and people can say don't. I'm still gonna celebrate our happiness. I'm still gonna celebrate the fact that I achieved something in my life. Like, achievements are something to be celebrated, not something to be smushed on and stifled down. It makes it really hard for us to try and enjoy things when people do that. And I don't mean just the couple of people who said it on YouTube. I mean, Ether's dad. and kind of his mom. Both of them has been encouraging us to cancel the wedding. Both of them have been encouraging Aether to break up with us because they think we're not fit, because we're not a doctor or a lawyer and we can't hold a job steady. And it's really hard to try and be excited for something when people are trying to stomp all over it. We shouldn't have to justify we spent X amount on our wedding. We shouldn't have to justify buying a car or celebrating that we bought a car. We're just happy we did. I'm sorry this got a little extra, I guess. But it just bugs me that people want to step on other people and make them feel bad about celebrating something that is really important to them. Now, if we were, a multi-millionaire or something and bought a extravagant $75,000 dress and got a brand new, never driven Tesla and like that I could understand, because I don't like people bragging, but we aren't rich. YouTube doesn't sustain us just because we have X amount of subscribers. YouTube doesn't sustain us. Our Patreon doesn't sustain us. Our dog training doesn't sustain us. We're having to sell things from our house to try and make payments on things. Like, we're struggling just as much as the next person. We're just fortunate to be able to occasionally buy something nice and space it out enough to where it's not making it a huge hindrance on our life. Anyway, it just makes me sad. But that has been what we have been up to. So yeah, look forward to the videos in the next couple of days. We're gonna have a couple of videos popping up, and I hope to see all of you in the next video. Bye, guys.